Welcome to another episode of Systematic Geekology. This is a space where we seek to create and cultivate healthy conversations between those things we geek out on and the philosophical and theological questions that often arise out of our fandoms. Like, what does it mean to be human? What makes a hero? What makes a villain? How do the stories and narratives we geek out on shape how we live in the world? We are your priest to the geeks. We aren't all ordained, but we see ourselves as mediators at the intersection of geek culture and going deeper in our faith. We don't always have to agree, but we do respect each other, and we see everyone as a beloved child of God. Everyone geeks out on something, so come geek out with us and enjoy the show.
This show is a proud member of the Anazal Podcast Network.
Would you survive Order 66, or would you not make it out of the Jedi Temple if you were a young Padawan? This is Systematic Geekology. We are the Priest of the Geeks, and if you couldn't tell from that intro, we are going to be talking about Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. This is part of our summer drive-in series, so this is a bonus series we do where we do kind of like just quick hits on movies we love, and the theme this year is prequels, so of course we have to do a Star Wars prequel in here, and who better to talk about this with than a couple Star Wars nerds here. The question is, will we be able to keep this to 20 minutes? We'll see, but I am one of your hosts, Kevin Schafer, and I am here with fellow geekologist Evan Garcia. Evan, how are you today?
Daiwanawanga.
Oh, and dude, quick note. Yeah. I took my niece and nephew to see Mandalorian and Grogu yesterday. They loved it, especially my nephew was like my niece was like, I mean, to be, I was wondering how she still enjoyed it, but like, it's not like there are characters in there she loves as much, but like my nephew was like all in, so it was pretty cool. But yeah,
that's the best.
It was cool for their first Star Wars movie in theaters. Yes. It was a blast. Yes. But yeah. Good stuff. So awesome. Well, we don't need to do much intro here. If you're listening, you can check out the show notes for a full list of the series. But send us to your ideas for what we want to cover down the road for another drive-in series. But let's get right into it. So, Evan, I want to know first off, so pretend we're just coming out of the theater or the drive-in theater, seeing Revenge of the Sith for the first time. What's your reaction? And feel free to talk about what it was like when you first saw it, way back in 2005.
Yeah. To be honest, I remember walking out of the theater really bummed because I was like, damn, Star Wars is over. Because I didn't know that there was going to be Clone Wars. We didn't know that there was going to be any sequels. We didn't know that. I was excited because I liked the movie, but I was really depressed about it. I was just like, oh no.
It's a really good point. I mean, this is back in 2005. Yeah. There were no plans or confirmation of a sequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. That Revenge of the Sith is going to end on a dark note because this is about the birth of Darth Vader and the formation of the Empire. And I remember too, I saw it multiple times. I mean, I was in fifth grade. I had my Darth Vader voice changer. Do you remember that one?
Cool. Yes.
Dude, yes. Dude, I still have it. And so I gave it to my niece and nephews and they play with it all the time.
Yes.
But yeah, I was elated, but I remember my grandfather took me one of the times and he was like, yeah, that was really dark, and it does. I mean, talk about a dour note this ends on. That's a big part of where we were at that time was, whoa, is this really the end? Is this the last movie we're going to get? Because, I mean, it's great, but it's also, dang, that ends on even though we know where the story goes from that point on, this is the end of the prequels, but, and we know it's going to, Luke and Leia are going to save the day eventually. But still, we were not guaranteed another Star Wars movie or a series or anything like that. that.
Right.
So this was but what else about it? I mean, definitely dark on that note. What else made you feel in one way or another? Just like your general feelings and your reaction.
I was very satisfied with it. The only thing I wasn't was I thought we were going to see Darth Vader in the suit kill Jedi. I remember just like feeling that should be a thing. Yeah, we technically got him, but he was the blue lightsaber and his Sith eyes. So it was just like, I wanted to see the suited up Vader annihilating a Jedi, which we later see in some comics and a spoiler alert in some shows that just came out recently. But no, overall, I was very satisfied with the movie, and just like you, I saw it at least 12 times in the theater. I just went over and over and over to see it with my friends, and I was graduating high school from there at that point too. So I was it was a big time because like it was the end of my high school career, and it was at the end of Star Wars. So, but yes, I liked it. I thought, we could get into some other criticisms later, but yeah.
No, and I think for me too, both of us grew up, with the prequels.
Right.
You're a little bit older than I am, but
Sure.
We weren't of that, kind of generation that was more nitpicky.
Right.
And I had a lot of criticisms for the prequels, much like we are today with the sequels. So it's a fascinating, the way Star Wars affects generations. But for me, certainly, I was a kid growing up on the prequels, so I loved them, and Revenge of the Sith was no different. For me, it was an even more personal aspect to it because I was in 5th grade, and I remember the big end of the year field trip for 5th graders wasn't wheelchair accessible for me, and we knew that going in. We talked with teachers, administrators, and because it was I think it was a weekend type thing and all that, and so we knew that going in, and so my mom was like, okay, well, was she planned, like you said, at the beginning of school, you're like, we'll do something else, instead. So I got led to go action figure shopping and saw Revenge of the Sith, and I was like, hey, I'm happy as could be, and
that was a big deal back then too, because they had tons of merchandise out for it.
Dude.
The Toys R Us, half of the toy section was just for Revenge of the Sith stuff. Those were the days. It was such a time. Those were the days.
Oh my gosh. I just sent you that meme the other day about it was the comedian Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yes.
Yeah, ranting about, he's like, what happened to Toys R Us?
Exactly.
Because he found a mini store in the mall that he's like, no,
I've
it's
seen them.
You go.
It's so depressing. Yeah. It's so depressing.
It's very depressing. Yeah.
So depressing.
I mean, because Toys R Us was so essential to my childhood, and absolutely the merchandise of I would argue that the merchandise of the prequel era is the greatest era for Star Wars merchandise. Because the original trilogy, they didn't even have all the figures ready when the first movie came out. Yeah. So the Kenner toys were such a big deal because kids were asking their parents to order them well after New Hope came out. Yeah. But we had an abundance. I mean, to the point where it was not just Obi-Wan, Anakin, Padme figures. It was
everything.
You had the entire Jedi Council. There could be one character that's in a scene. No, Revenge of the Sith, one of my favorites is the kid who one of the only kids that Anakin doesn't kill, but one of the clone trooper shoots in that. You know what I'm talking about, when Bail Organa sees
Jet.
You know what I'm talking about? Yes, exactly. Yeah. And George Lucas' son play. I had that action figure.
Oh, cool.
I had everything. I mean,
nice.
Those. I mean, they were. It was just an abundance. But yeah, this was just so foundational to our childhood. So, and it also, I think the big thing about Revenge of the Sith, I said a minute ago about, there were a lot of snobby original trilogy fans that weren't down with the prequels, but more than the majority of them liked Revenge of the Sith much more than episodes 1 and 2. Like, it gave them that more visceral, emotional journey of Anakin becoming Darth Vader and the fallout between him and Obi-Wan. I mean, no one can watch the lightsaber duels in this movie and be like, that was all right,
I remember because I think it was a common lore back then that Steven Spielberg advised on that final duel or something like that, and the fighting was good. It was just what we wanted to see, and it was just emotional. But maybe to bring it to kind of modern day, when it was re-released last year in theaters, I took my son to watch it, and
dude, it was awesome.
He loved it. I loved it. However, I do want to point out something. I've heard Josh say on a different episode that he thinks the pacing is kind of weird, and it has I forgot exactly how he described it, but when I saw it in theaters 20 years later, I kind of noticed what he was talking about. These scenes, they don't really blend in that much. They're just things that happen, and they kind of coincide with each other just because of the dialogue. And I was like, dang, this has always been here, I think, and I'm just coming around to the criticism now. And it doesn't lessen my idea from the movie, because I still love the prequels, but not just because they were my Star Wars, quote unquote. They are their own thing. They're very much in the style of old kind of serial films, and the choppiness of the scenes and of the weird dialogue, I think that's a feature, but not a bug that people think it is. So it was just weird to sit in the theater and be like, oh, now I see what people are talking about. Okay.
No, that's very well put. I mean, I think even for me, just because maybe it's because I've always had a knack for dialogue, and I have a theater background, I've written plays and stuff. So even as a fifth grader, as much as I loved it, I was still kind of laughing at the hokey dialogue in it.
Right.
Especially when it's it's in weird ways, it's almost like the hokey dialogue kind of fits better in Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones because it's more consistent with the tone. This one is so epic and visceral and Shakespearean that it's a little odd when you hear stuff like, Anakin, you're breaking my heart, and just really on the nose type stuff like that. But it also, like you said, very much fits in with what Star Wars is and always has been. The other day, speaking of the re-release last year, because I also, I went out with friends. It was great seeing it on the big screen again. You talked at the beginning of the episode about how when this came out, we were like, oh, is this the end of Star Wars? Is this the last movie we're ever getting? And then to watch it in theaters last year, after the last 20 years of everything, so much has changed, and the context of the Clone Wars changes everything.
100%.
Yeah.
That's true, because that's the power of the cinema, because I've seen the movie hundreds of times between DVDs and Disney Plus. I don't know how many times I've seen it, but seeing it in the cinema with the big bright screen with a bunch of people, it brought a perspective, and it kind of flattened the history a bit, which was kind of weird, and you see it from a different perspective. But yeah.
Oh, and also one of my favorite like hokey lines, like right in the middle of the big epic epic lightsaber duel, is Anakin saying, "From my point of view, the Jedi are evil." Like, I mean, that one just like made me laugh as a fifth grader. Like, I mean, so yes, like bless George Lucas. Dialogue was never his gift, but he had many other has many other talents that make him such a great storyteller. But that was not one of them.
Sure,
but yeah. And I've been thinking too about. I know we could easily do a long discussion on this one, but with our theme this year for systematic geekology being the faces behind us, so there's a lot of characters that really influence the events of this film and the trajectory of the core of the movie is Anakin's final transformation into Darth Vader, but it's all of the characters around him that. And his attachments and everything that pushes him toward that. So I'm thinking like Padmé and Palpatine being two of the most important characters here.
For sure. For sure, because they are the examples of, I would say, the coercion that put him in the place to make his decisions. You know what I mean? The Palpatine was manipulating him the whole time. The Padme was, I hate to say it, but she was almost enabling that behavior. She wouldn't say no to him, so it was kind of weird. The one face that was very influential to him in this film is one that's not in the film, and it's Qui-Gon, because I'm thinking, man, how much of a difference would have been if he was his master,
Oh, it's the great what if, and I mean, it's why the theme Duel of the Fates resonates so much, has so much meaning, and because that duel when Qui-Gon dies. It is the Duel of the Fates because any other outcome would have changed the future of Star Wars. Because I always think of it as like Obi-Wan. It's not that he was a bad mentor to him, but he was always a better big brother to Anakin than he was. But he was thrust into the role of big brother and father simultaneously, and you can't really do that. Like by the time he trains Luke, he's a father figure toward him, and he was ready for that. Yeah. But with Anakin, they're so close in age; they're bonded by this brotherhood. He couldn't be big brother and father, and whereas Qui-Gon could very much have been their father figure, both to Anakin and Obi-Wan, and it would have changed everything. So absolutely, Qui-Gon is one of the key faces behind us, I think, in this movie.
Yeah, and it's cool that you bring up a Duel of the Fates, because I was watching in episode 2 the other day, and I was like, I had completely forgot that a Duel of the Fates plays when he's going when Anakin's on the way to go to massacre the Sand people. So that is a pivotal time where his fate is decided, and that got me thinking, why wasn't it played in episode 3 if episode 3 was the one that really kind of sent him over, So
I wonder that too. I mean, I think like it would have been. I mean, granted, I love the theme, that they do for here, and I think it's more. It's cool. It's so emotional. I mean, the Battle of the Heroes and all that. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, and the Order 66 theme is.
It's a good progression of it. For sure.
It is. So I think like it's connected. And I wish too with the Obi-Wan series, which should have been a movie, but that's a topic for another day. But I wish they had used the Battle of the Heroes theme for the duel between Obi-Wan and Vader, and that would have been great. But alas, But yeah, I mean, there's just so many moments here. I mean, I agree. The pacing is like, it's weird, and it's also like when you look at not much time passes here as well, and yet so much happens. Yeah. That's another thing, because I mean, right at the beginning of the movie, they're rescuing Palpatine on the outskirts of Coruscant, and then we see Anakin and Obi-Wan's final goodbye before Obi-Wan goes to fight Grievous. Anakin's having the dream, or the nightmares, and Padmé's pregnant, but it just escalates so much from that point on. But again, going back to Clone Wars for a sec, it's like, the Clone Wars lore really expanded on all of that to make it work better, because you see all these events in motion here, and it's like, wait, how did this happen? How did this happen?
Yeah.
And then when you see Clone Wars, especially the final season, all of it really connects well. So it's cool to see. But now, granted, I can't believe that we're 20 years, more than 20 years, divorced from Revenge of the Sith initial release, and we still haven't gotten extended editions of the prequels. Like, I want that 4 hour. I want that.
But
I'm talking, I want the 4 hour cut of Revenge of the Sith.
I want the Topher Grace cut.
That would be awesome too. Yeah.
Because that's so hyped, Dude, why isn't Topher Grace like editing every movie? Because you've seen those things he's done. I mean, he's brilliant. I guess he could be, and we just don't know it.
Maybe. No. I don't know. But there's so much we could talk about more.
Order 66 was so effective, though. Like,
I
remember being like, oh, damn, like, this is how it goes down? Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's like, from the beginning, I mean, like, what the outcome is going to be when you go into this movie. It's like, okay, he's going to become Darth Vader. He starts hunting down the Jedi. But to see it be, this massive
clones that kind of flip on him,
that immediately flip, and
it's pretty genius. Actually,
all the Jedi feel that betrayal.
Yeah.
That montage sequence is just, like I said, heartbreaking and so visceral. And the John Williams score just hits you on every level. But yeah. Awesome. Well, Evan, anything else quick? I know, again, we could go on for hours about this one, but the drive-in series, these are short and fun. But any other final notes you want to say about just reflecting on Revenge of the Sith all these years later?
I thought about Jar Jar and how his non-placement in this film is indicative of a fandom. And sometimes I complain because I'm so in the weeds with the fandom online, is that I think a toxic fandom, quote unquote, that it's a fairly new thing. And it's not. It's always been there. It almost ruined Ahmed Best's life. And it's always there. And it was kind of a lesson that I had to learn of, like there's nothing new under the sun, and there's no need to get outraged over it and stuff like that. So that's just some perspective that I had kind of recently. So
I'm glad you brought that up too. I mean, absolutely. The toxic fan culture that literally, pushed, and I'm so glad Ahmed Best worked through that. And I mean, he's just a month ago, he was at my local comic shop doing a signing on every comic day. It was so cool. And I mean, now he's playing not just Jar Jar, but another Star Wars character, playing it. How cool is that too? He plays a badass Jedi who survived Order 66 and rescued Grogu.
Yep.
I love that he's had this redemption. But at the same time, that's the sad thing about nerd history repeating itself, is that toxic fan culture has not gone away. And hopefully that's I know at Systematic Geekology we try to really counteract that, and we celebrate each other's fandoms and voices, and we want to even when we disagree, we want to lift everyone's opinions and have healthy dialogue. So but awesome. Well, Evan, the closing question for this series is if you could have any flavored tea or lemonade to bring to the movie, what would be your choice?
What's the?
I know it's a very specific one.
I would do a mix of blue milk and a raspberry tea, because that sounds kind of cool.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
I have kind of a cop-out answer. I said pink on the last one I recorded with Joshua, but my cop-out answer is I'm diabetic, so I don't drink tea or lemonade, so I'm just bringing a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that going forward. Exactly. Awesome. Well, Evan, this has been a blast. We will definitely. We got to do like a full-on prequel, like deep dive,
Reflection.
like a reflection. So this is almost like a teaser for that. We'll make that happen eventually. But in the meantime, for our listeners out there, go check out the rest of the series. Again, click on the show notes. You can find the whole catalog there. And we'd love to hear from you on social media. Evan is the one running all the memes on social media, so he does a wonderful job with those. So check those out. Yes, always. Well, thank you all for tuning in today. Evan, this was great. And for everyone out there, remember, we are all a chosen people, a geekdom of priests. May the Force be with you.
Thank you all so much for your time listening to this episode. If you want to help sponsor our show, but you can't quite do the membership thing, commit to that once a month payment, good news, you can leave a donation on our Fourth Wall website. You also can get some free content over there. So if you don't have the money for the membership, but you still want to hear some of the extras and bonuses we do over on Fourth Wall, there's an option for that. If you want to support the show without that commitment every month, again, you can donate over there. Every little bit helps. Our show has a lot of needs when it comes to equipment, when it comes to going to some of the events we want to go to, advertising, getting the word out about our show. It takes a lot, and we really appreciate each and every person who's able to help us do it, even if it's something free, just like the free membership or leaving a rate and review on our site. Every little bit helps. Your time listening to this helps, and we appreciate all of you. We're so proud of the community we formed over at Systematic Geekology, and we're very happy and we're proud that you're a part of it. Thank you so much for your time and for being a part of this community.
Hey everybody, this is Alex Matthews, and I'm just here to share with you guys about the Anazao Network. Hope you guys could check out Page and Pixel, which is a podcast about books and video games. Another podcast we would love for you to check out is Your Matter Matters. It's a podcast that puts the and in faith and science. We got Let Nothing Move You with Christian Ashley going through the whole Bible, one chapter at a time. And last but not least, another one called Some Joyful Noises, a music podcast with no rhyme, rhythm, or reason. This show has no set schedule or host, but periodically has some members from the Anazao Network posting discussions about various musical topics, everything from Taylor Swift to the music of Adventure Time and more. So I hope you guys will give those a listen, because I definitely will. As a matter of fact, I'm about to hit that subscribe button right now, and you should too.